Hello and welcome to Sports Extra. I'm your host Ahmad Nawaz. It's a great afternoon to discuss cricket. It's going to be cricket on the show today, and we've got a cricket extravaganza. When we talk about cricket, there's a lot of news that we want to share with you. Let's take a look at the lineup. We will be starting off with the fact that there is a possibility that Pakistan might be playing a tri-series, and that too in New Zealand. And it's a great possibility right before the World Cup. New Zealand cricket has actually opened the prospect of playing a tri-nation series with Pakistan and Bangladesh involved in New Zealand right before the World Cup, and that means that they recognize that crucial practice against Pakistan is necessary to go into the World Cup. Pakistan, of course, the favourites when it comes to T20 brand of cricket. So we will be discussing that and that prospect as well. After that, we will be moving on to Sri Lankan Women Tour of Pakistan. The girls in green, the squad has been announced. Bisma Maroof will be leading our girls in T20 and one days against the Sri Lankan side. Sri Lankan side will be captained by Chamari Atapattu, and the series is going to take place in Karachi. All the matches, T20s, 3 of them, 3 one days, all of them in Karachi. Series starts on 24th with a T20 match. So some great match practice there as well, and so far the training camp has been there in Karachi. An intra-squad match was also played between the squad that has been selected. So it is, of course, great cricket that we will see on the women's side as well. 2 uncapped players have been named in the squad as well. So a bunch of youth is being involved in this series. After that, we will be talking about the fact that Tom Harrison has resigned as well. But before that, we've got Sri Lanka. That is, of course, playing Bangladesh, and it's a great test match to see because we're seeing some quality cricket as well. Bangladesh was bowled out for 465 runs, 4 wickets for Kasun Rajastha. Sri Lanka's batting was underway. Angelo Matthews was very unlucky not to get a 200, falling just 1 run short on 199. So that was a bit of disappointment as well. And then, of course, after that, like I said, that we will also be discussing the fact that Tom Harrison has stepped down as Chief Executive of the English Cricket Board. He served as CEO for more than 7 years. He had overseen a record level of investment, and Ms. O'Connor has now agreed to become the interim CEO as they move on to the process of selecting a new one as well. That's on the show today. That's the lineup. We'll start the show off by introducing our guests. In studios, first of all, we've been joined by cricket commentator and expert Asif Ahmad. Assalamu alaikum. How are you, sir?
Walaikum assalam. I'm good, Ahmad. How about yourself?
I'm great. Good to have you on the show. Thank you very much for joining us. We've also been joined by senior cricket commentator and expert Leena Aziz. Assalamu alaikum, Leena. How are you?
How are you, Asif? I hope both of you are well.
Absolutely fine. Just considering a prospect of having a tri-nation T20 series in New Zealand is mouth-watering, considering the amount of cricket that is going to be there. But Leena, busy calendar for Pakistan, but if there is a tri-nation on the cards in those sort of conditions, Pakistan should take it.
Absolutely. I mean, like you said, that it's a busy calendar for Pakistan. Pakistan's scheduled to play Sri Lanka, before, and then later we're playing England and New Zealand, a very long series with England, 7 T20s, and then also a series planned with New Zealand. And before that, of course, the West Indies is coming. So a very, very hectic season for Pakistan. But like you were saying, that series in New Zealand is mighty important because we are playing the World Cup in Australia. Conditions, as you know, in that Trans-Tasmanian region are very similar, whether it's New Zealand or even Australia. A little more bounce in Australia, a little less bounce in New Zealand, but very similar conditions. So it will be fantastic practice for the Pakistani boys.
But that's very important. I mean, that practice that we talk about, because the conditions in Australia, the previous World Cup has been in the UAE. Now, then, of course, you're moving on to Australia. Australia has always been tough for teams like Pakistan, particularly Pakistan. In those kind of conditions, playing T20 cricket, Australia is already the defending champions. They're going to be ruthless there as well. So, Asif, some good match practice for Pakistan if we go on to a prospect of a tri-series.
I want you to skip this word if. We surely be going there, and we surely be looking forward. Why? Because you know that you'll be playing World Cup in Australia and playing in the same and similar conditions as Ms. Leena said, that the bouncy tracks is so important for the Pakistani batters as well as and the bowlers as well. And if we have a really good record against New Zealand, especially in T20. We have played 25 matches. Pakistan have won 15 out of them. And one thing that Mohammad Hafiz is the highest scorer for Pakistan, scored more than 500 runs. He won't be there, I think, in World Cup. Of course, he has asked and he has given the retirement. He has taken the retirement actually. And if you see that the prospect for the Pakistan, Pakistan it would be a emerging side, and we have a couple of young players like Rizwan, who's playing so nicely, and Shaheen Shah Afridi. He's really good in England as well in the county cricket. So when he'll be playing in New Zealand before the World Cup against Bangladesh, and Bangladesh, we got 80% of success against Bangladesh in T20 matches. So a good chance for the Pakistani players to make up themselves for the upcoming T20 World Cup. And players like Babar Azam, who's technically superb, and he will be fine anywhere playing in the world. But the rest of the batters, if you talk about Fakhar Zaman and other T20 stuff like we have
Haider Ali.
Haider Ali, that's right. If they will be playing before the World Cup, and let me take the name of Asif Ali as well, because they used to play across the line, same with the Fakhar Zaman as well. We talked about most of the time their technique.
But Fakhar has improved.
This is what I'm saying, that the Fakhar has improved a lot. And let's say if Haider Ali working on his technique, because by heart he's so brave, he's a confident player, same with the Asif Ali. And what's wrong with the Asif Ali technically is pretty much wrong, if you talk about that he plays across the line most of the time. It won't work in bouncy pitches, especially in Australia and New Zealand and England. And when you play across the line, the bouncy tracks and the bouncy pitches, it definitely won't help you out. So if they will be playing this series against Bangladesh and New Zealand, will be giving you confidence. And if let's suppose if they are playing nicely and they're getting runs and they're getting wickets of the rest of the bowlers like Haris Rauf and Shaheen Shah Afridi, and if Fahim Ashraf is there, because there's a question mark that will be in difficult situation. We'll be selecting our 16-side team for the World Cup, because I don't think so that PCB will be considering Shoaib Malik in the middle order and will be struggling in the middle order. So whoever the team is, whoever the players are,
right.
if they are playing right before the World Cup in New Zealand, will be getting confidence, will be getting experience, and really good for the team like Pakistan.
Definitely. I'll have a little disagreement. I think Shoaib Malik's going to make that squad. I think Babar Azam has got a lot of reliance on him in the middle order. I think he's going to make the squad. But that being said, Leena, I think the first order of business, even before match practice, is to actually get your combinations finalized in the next probably 1 or 2 months. Because if you're going with the same plan, last minute selections, what we saw in the last World Cup, then things won't be the same, because it's Australia this time.
Ahmad, I think they should look at this phrase horses for courses. This is Australia where we're going. We should see which bowlers, first of all, let's see which bowlers are going to be effective in Australia. In my opinion, of course, Shaheen Afridi is a given. Rauf is playing very well. He's bowling very well. Those are 2 bowlers. We need another tall, fast bowler. In my personal opinion, it should be Dhani. But for that, they should give him a chance beforehand. And because he's tall, he gets that, really good bounce. He's got a mean bouncer. He's got a good yorker. He's got height. So he's going to be a difficult customer, Dhani. He should be there. I think he should be in their bowling plans. Then also we need a good spinner. We should see the fitness of Shadab. If Shadab is fit, it's excellent, because he gives us an option in the batting, middle order batting also. That is going to be good. Then we need to see Fahim Ashraf, his fitness. If he's fit, he could be the all-rounder that could give us a little more extra, security as far as the batting is concerned. So this is like the bowling lineup. Then they need to see which batsman. I mean, we all talk about Shoaib Malik, his experience. He's been wonderful the latter part of his career. He's been wonderful. He's been a late bloomer, so to say. The last 5 years, 6 years, he's done well. But we also need to understand and look at his record in Australia. If it's good, if he can play the bounce well, That's good. Also, we need to see that the batsmen we need to take to Australia should be good cutters. They should be able to play the bounce well. Should be able to use the crease better. The should be back foot players, and they need to pull well. So the team should be selected keeping all this in mind, all these factors, the conditions, in Australian conditions in mind.
I think that's very important. But the conditions, the combinations that you take, sometimes it's not about the recent form of players, but how well have they performed in those conditions. A player might be acing the strike rate, acing the averages, everything. Economy rate might be good, and things would be different. But you have to consider that they will be playing in conditions like Australia. So that becomes very important. And Asif, if I'm not too wrong right now, we're still confused of what squad we want to take.
Yes, absolutely right. That we do not have exact idea that who is going and who is not going. Who will be in 11 side and who will be in the 16 squad. One thing that when we talk about that a customer Nawaz Dhani, that he performed a lot in T20 cricket, especially in PSL. And when he performed in PSL, we have announced his name for the test squad, which really not understandable. The first thing. The second thing, ma'am, if we talk about an Ahmad, a young lad, Zaman Khan, the way he performed in the last PSL's edition, he was quite surprising. And his in T20 cricket or in the limited overs cricket, when we talk about the importance of Yorkers, it's really important. And he
Wahab Riaz bowls good Yorkers. You never talk about him.
Look, I'm pretty serious. Once again, do you really think that he would be in the squad?
He's there in the camp of 60 players at the National High Performance Centre. That says a lot about our priorities.
I'm talking about Zaman Khan. Let me complete myself. Okay. So Zaman Khan was a quite surprising package for the Lahore Qalandars and played a really important role in the victory of Lahore Qalandars. So I think when we talk about Nawaz Dhani, I might giving slight marks to Zaman Khan as well, that both of the youngsters are really talented, really passionate, especially Nawaz Dhani is a complete package, a really good fielder and a lively actor, always smile in the field and off the field as well. So Nawaz Dhani, I'm quite sure that he would be in 16th squad. And as ma'am said that the Fahim Ashraf, if let's suppose if he'll be perfect and he'll be fine with his health, so he would be in the squad and he'll be playing, of course, there because he has a really good record in Australia and New Zealand as well. So and in England as well. So would be tough job for the selectors to announce the 16 member squad for the Tri-Nation Series and for the World Cup. But you know that you will be considering one thing, that the conditions are really important. And when we talk about our spinners, yes, Shadab Khan is there. And what's the next name? The next name, Usman Qadir either, Zahid, and who will be in the 16-member squad. So I think you'd have to consider two wicket keepers, Rizwan and either the Sarfraz, or you'll be going with Haris. So tough job, but I think really important series would wait for all of the countries, for the New Zealand and the Bangladesh. So they will be prepared themselves right before the World Cup.
But some players that we do want to consider or want to take as replacements, I think it's the right time against the West Indies or certain series where you could just try them and develop them with that confidence. Because, Leena, I think the big mistake that we make in our part of the world, and we have a lot of similarities with our neighbour when it comes to cricketing talent. What India does is when they bring a youngster onto the scene, and when Pakistan brings a youngster onto the scene, both nations tend to make eye candies very quickly. So they'll quickly bring on a player and would probably quickly disregard him at the same level. But the point is that the difference is that the Indian player, the youngster, would be so mentally strong because he's coming from a young Ranji Trophy structure where he's making billions, then he's playing the IPL, then he's probably into the Indian team as a mature young lad. While in Pakistan, like Asif mentioned, two particular names of Dhani and Zaman Khan, my concern would be that they've still not been put under pressure. Dhani saw a little bit of pressure in this year's PSL and he was getting some hammering because he was too predictable. So probably that's the difference what we have.
I mean, first of all, let's talk about the difference between Zaman Khan and Dhani. The reason I was preferring Dhani over Zaman is that during the last season, I've seen and commentated over on both of them. T20, National T20, Qaid-e-Azam Trophy, etc., Pakistan Cup, etc. So I got to see them both very closely as a commentator. The reason I didn't name Zaman and name Dhani is because of the height. Dhani is very tall. And on Australian conditions, when you're tall, you will get that bounce. And that is a real asset. Zaman is a great bowler, but then he's not very tall. He will be good on because he bowls that fuller length. He will be good on different wickets, like Indian Pakistani wickets or maybe UAE wickets. When I bowl the fuller length English wickets, he will be very good. But on Australian tracks, New Zealand tracks, we probably should opt for Dhani. The other thing about maturity, Ahmad, okay, cricket thing is your app. I absolutely agree with you about being mature, getting money in domestic season, playing the Ranji Trophy, then coming into Indian sides and playing the IPL. The other factor, we tend to always ignore that maturity. Okay, cricket maturity is one thing, but mentally you become mature with education. Their players are very educated. All of them speak well. You can see that they're, very sensible, level-headed. Our players, when they come into Pakistan team or, the forefront or, people are watching them on television, they need to be mentally a little more mature. So, education also plays a big part in all this.
That's right.
Do you agree?
Yeah, that's right. That's really important. And when we talk about the education, you see the structure of Indian school. They're playing, the 2 days match. Either in Pakistan, we didn't have school cricket for a long time. But when I used to play, that was a 40 hours match. And in the recent past, we have observed that the schools are going with the T20 stuff. They're not playing, either 1 day match or 2 days match. There's the difference between Pakistan and India, and that's why an Indian player, he was just 13 years of age, and he scored 900 in a match, and he's in 2 days match. And let's talk about his maturity. Let's talk about his education, which Miss Leena is mentioning actually. Our players, of course, they cannot speak over the camera.
Yeah.
Lack of confidence, but I think PCB is working on that.
Definitely.
But it starts from the school, Ahmad, and your education matters a lot.
Definitely, I agree. But I think our brand of mature cricketers are different because PCB just spent 1 million rupees in the age test of these players, and once the result comes in, you'll be surprised how many mature players we have. Moving on to women's cricket, we've got a report on that. Let's take a look.
Wicketkeeper batter Gul Firoza and leg spinner Tuba Hassan have been included in the Pakistan Women's T20 squad. Uncapped batter Sadaf Shams has been included in the ODI squad, while Gul Firoza, who hails from Multan, has also earned a spot in the 50-over matches squad. Chief Selector Asmavia Iqbal finalised the squad in consultation with the head coach David Hem and captain Bisma Maroof. The performances of the pre-series camp participants that were staged at the Hanif Mohammad High Performance Centre, including form, fitness and past performances, were considered in the selection process. Bisma, Alia Riaz, Diana Beg and Fatma Sana, who appeared in the Fairbreak Invitational T20 event in Dubai, have returned to Karachi and will take part in the 3-day pre-series training from Saturday. The pre-series camp will conclude today with a practice session at the Hanif Mohammad High Performance Centre.
Well, there you have it. The women's squad has been announced for the series against Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka is going to be visiting Pakistan. The squad is there for us to see T20s and one days. Bisma Maroof will be leading the side in both the formats. Your take, Asif, first of all, on the squad and overall the series as well.
Yeah, a really important series, as we've discussed earlier as well, that Sri Lanka visiting Pakistan and Pakistani team didn't play well in World Cup. And in New Zealand, actually, we didn't have good experience there. Bisma Maroof still the captain. We talked a lot about her performance. Still, if you talk about the squad, as you said, that 2 uncapped players will be playing and will be in the squad. So I think it's a blend of youngsters and experience. Diana Beg is there, and Bisma Maroof and Sana Fatma had a really good tournament in Dubai. She was bowling really nicely. I heard his interview as well. She looked and she sounds really confident. She said that we learned a lot, and definitely the things which we have learned in Dubai in the international series will be implementing in the home series. So I think really important series for the future of the women cricket of the Pakistan. And lately you will be visiting to the England, Ireland, and you'll be playing there in England Commonwealth Games, and after that Pakistan will be playing in the T20 World Cup as well. So really important for the preparations of the Pakistan team.
Definitely, really important indeed as well. Leena, your take, the squad has been announced, 2 uncapped players. I was calling for accountability after the World Cup, but probably silent accountability to an extent was probably there.
Yeah, I mean, we're really happy that uncapped players are now being given chances. Young players are given chances. Pakistan team, I feel, is a team which is doing well. The only area I felt that they needed some help is that I thought, and I've been talking about it, that they need a power hitting coach. What I noticed during the World Cup, and I watched the matches very closely, that the Pakistan team couldn't finish well. Sometimes when they were chasing, they couldn't hit those big shots, so they didn't know how to hit them. Therefore, I felt that they needed a power hitting coach in particular. They've got a lot of talent. There's Javeria, there's Diana Beg, there's Aisha Dar, there's Bisma Maroof, there's Fatma Sana, who was the emerging player of the year, the ICC emerging player of the year. So there is a lot of talent, and the girls are pretty fit. And the other thing, which is I'm going to be digressing a little bit, is that all of them speak so well. So the women speak well, they know how to speak, they know how to, send their message across to the people watching or listening on television or watching on television. So they're a sensible bunch, but they do need some help in the coaching department. This series will help me analyze where they need more help. I might be getting closely involved with the series. I can't say now, but I might be. So if I do, then I'll get a better chance to analyze them. What I felt during the World Cup is that they need power hitting coaches, and they could also do with 1 or 2 good fast bowlers, and perhaps go to areas like Gilgit-Baltistan and the north of Pakistan to find those bowlers.
Speaking of power hitting coach, the men's side has not even found one yet. Asif?
Well, actually, I slightly disagree with this concept, with this idea that
power hitting?
Yes.
Okay.
Why? Let me give you some reasons that.
You want one person to take all the roles?
Dart pitegi, dart.
Yes, ma'am. Please.
She's saying you'll get scolded. So think about what you're saying.
No issues. I'm ready for that. Why? If we talk about that, the power hitting, why you require a power hitting? Because when you are not playing according to the situation, then in the end you'll be looking forward to get 10, 12 runs in an over. And then you'll be looking at hairy-fairy shots, or you say that the power hitting, or you are getting the perfect timing. These are 3 different
But
things.
what about the science involved? The angle of the shot, the bat swing, the aerodynamics involved there as well. What about those things? Should we just...
Really important question, Ahmad. But you know that I have mentioned in our program earlier on that the legend batter Michael Bevan, the best chaser ever, what he says that you do not require always the power hitting. You just require to play according to the situation. Why? For example, if let's suppose you and me, we are chasing 350 over match, or let's suppose...
I'll make sure you get run out.
Always conspiracies against me. Always. All right. So, see, if you require 8-10 runs in an over, and you just concentrate to wait just for a loose delivery and get a boundary there, and just 4 singles. Why you are not bringing up this idea in your cricket? We are not good to take good singles ever. And in the ODI cricket, why Misbah was renowned with the tuk-tuk? Because he used to play lots of deliveries, dot deliveries. When you're playing dot deliveries, definitely you'll be under pressure. Okay, let's come up with the Australian cricket. Either they got the power hitting coach or not. Let's come up with the Indian cricket team. They got the really good smashes. Either Asif Ali was working under the power hitting coach or not, because he's a good power hitter. In Pakistan, we call him, that the man of crisis. And okay, let's go to the South Africa. Was AB de Villiers, was he under constructed in any power hitting coach? No, not at all. Let's talk about David Warner. Either they went under the coaching of the power hitting coach. So answer would be no.
Actually, all of them had a power hitting coach. It was just not an individual. For AB de Villiers, his power hitting coach was playing hockey, playing rugby, playing golf. I mean, the dynamics are different. But for region like Pakistan, where cricketers are only playing cricket, and that too very rarely, then that notion probably comes up. But overall, I think that concept where modern cricket has now reached, of having an entourage of coaches, assistant coaches, physios, everybody involved, a psychologist, as Leena always mentions, probably one of the most important roles that should be there with the team. That should be there.
Look,
but coming to the series, I understand where you're going with this. But coming to the series itself, the timing of this series has been discussed a lot. The infrastructure has been discussed a lot. A lot of things have been discussed. But Leena, probably having trials, having a series in Pakistan where probably parents can take their young daughters, families can take young girls to actually see the series, might motivate a lot of young girls as well.
Absolutely. I mean, they'll have to market it in a way that everyone knows that this series is happening. We don't know if it's going to be on television.
But so far, no marketing. There's no talk about broadcast, and the series is going to take place on the 24th. For some technical issue with Leena, we'll try to get that resolved, but no marketing right now. Asif, I'm sure that you will also agree that we don't know whether it's being televised or not as well. But right after this short break, we've just been told it's a short break. We'll come back. Stay tuned. Welcome back. We'll be discussing the test series between Bangladesh and Sri Lanka now, where Bangladesh were bowled out for more than 460 runs. Sri Lanka's batting was underway. Angelo Matthews, very unlucky, a run short of getting a double century, but quality test cricket on offer. Yes, Asif.
Well, Bangladesh is playing really good cricket from last couple of months. If you talk about their last series against New Zealand, they beat New Zealand in New Zealand, and they played really good cricket in South Africa as well. And they got some close matches there. Their players, their former players, they were talking about the quality of umpiring, but they had a good series there. And now in Bangladesh facing Sri Lanka and playing really nicely. Angelo Matthews scored 199. But one thing I would like to mention about Sri Lankan cricket, that for a long time we're not observing quality cricketers there. Yes, Angelo Matthews there is a good, good captain, and he remained the best all-rounder as well in last couple of years. But if you talk about the quality of, Mahila Jayawardene, Kumara Sangakkara, if you talk about Marwana Tapatu, Arvinda De Silva, Sri Lanka is not getting players like them. Chaminda Nawaz, they have Nuwan Kulesikra, they had Farwez Maharouf, they had Nuwan Zoisa. So something is missing in Sri Lankan cricket. And once again, they are in the political chaos, the situations are not good. But even then, the cricket board, their cricket board, I don't think so. What's going on there? And they're not producing quality cricketers. So in Bangladesh, when Bangladesh is playing so nicely, Tamim Iqbal is there, and Mushfiqur Rahim, Liton Das, all of them are playing really nicely, and they scored 465. And let's suppose right now Bangladesh is in good position, and in the next couple of days, if they'll be able to put down Sri Lanka and then chase down the score, I think they're in the position.
They've got a chance. Yeah. They've got a chance,
but
definitely.
The Sri Lankan cricket board, lots of questions mark on their performance.
Right. Leena, what would you like to add? Test cricket is always fun to see, always great to watch. Matthews just one short of getting a double century, but the Bangladesh boys look to be on top right now.
cricket when we've been bullied by IPL for last 2 months, and there has been hardly any international cricket. This particular test match, I mean, it's been a little flat because it's been very high scoring. So it probably will go towards a draw. But of course, Angelo Matthews, fantastic player, former captain, good all-rounder, sensible player. So I would have wanted him to get it to double hundred. But it is a test match which is high scoring. Usually we call it like a boring test match. But nevertheless, it's great to have some test cricket back.
Great to have Test cricket back, especially Bangladesh. I think they've got a great combination when it comes to Test cricket. When it comes to the limited over series, they tend to falter a bit as well. So there are certain things that they can work on probably and get their act together as well. Now, definitely coming to some more news that we've got to discuss as well. And the fact is that the English Cricket Board has gone through many changes over the past couple of months. Recently, Ben Stokes being appointed the captain, Brendan McCullum coming in as the coach, and now Tom Harrison, who served as the CEO for England cricket for more than 7 years and has overseen a record number of investment in England cricket as well, has called it, and he's decided to leave. And you know, being a chief executive is a lot more responsibility on you than many other positions. But the fact is that after more than 7 years, he stepped down and he has opened the door for somebody else to take that position. Yes, Asif?
Well, this is their culture, you know, and earlier on their captain, their former captain, and one of the best players, Joe Root, he has resigned, he has stepped down. After that, we have seen the appointment of their head coach, their test team, and then this the example. This is their culture, and unfortunately that we're missing this culture. And I think that, as we were discussing in break, that why we're not giving space to the youngsters, why we're not asking them, yes, enough, I have performed for several years and now goodbye. But he has performed for the 7 years. See, in last 7 years, England achieved a lot. If you talk about their ODI cricket, their T20, they were so good. Yes, they struggled in red ball cricket. But I think that after this resignation, after when he has stepped down, he has left so many good memories, and he has given good chance to come to the other guy to come up and now fulfill the responsibilities. Because I hardly say that in Pakistan we cannot observe this kind of culture, and honestly we are eagerly we are waiting that if someone is saying that yes, goodbye, I'm going. No, it's not in Pakistan, it's in England.
It's in England. Leena, your final thoughts on Tom Harrison's resignation from the post, stepping down from the post of chief executive of the ECB after 7 years?
Well, you know, there have been many resignations, or people have been asked to step down. Giles, Silverwood, Root, and now him. So, you know, this whole system after the Ashes, they had a terrible Ashes, and before that, they didn't have a very good test year. You know, test matches, they didn't win very much. So, you know, these things were on the card. Now, the big question is, who's going to replace all these people? Okay, fine, we got Stokes, but I think he's a reluctant captain. He wouldn't want to accept it earlier on when it was offered to him, or there were speculation that he could be the captain. Then also his off the field, his behavior off the field wasn't that great. But then now he's being given captaincy because there is no other option. You know, other people are being changed. Also Strauss, you know, he's a good guy. He's a good director of cricket. He could have done well, but now he didn't want to do it for long. There's Atherton and Nasir Hussain and all these guys. They need to find the right combination to support Stokes, who's the red ball captain. They've gotten McCullum, but they need to have a couple of good guys in the ECB to support this whole system. And we need a strong England in the test scenario, especially to have this test cricket flourish. Because we need a strong Pakistan, we need a strong West Indies, we need a strong England to have this whole test matches flourish in the right way and go in the right direction.
Definitely, we do. Leena and Asif, thank you very much for joining us on Sports Extra. And the fact is that 7 years of excellence have now come to an end. Somebody else will take up that role. That's all we have for this edition of Sports Extra. See you tomorrow. From me and the entire team, it's goodbye for now.